Today was Sunday, May 14th. And this is a letter to my unborn son. Malice is preparing an ambush at your foothold. You will need discipline to sustain this attack. Prepare by absorption. Less is more. As you age, you will begin to know there is more power in the time buried beneath us than the time that lies ahead. Silence turns trust into divine revelation. This is where victory will fruition. If your enemies are fools, they are weak, consumed by deceit and greed. Keep your enemies smarter. Keep yourself in their shadow, and you will know no peace. The most loud is the most weak. Cloak your passions in virtue, and you will know Apollo. We're made to be way more resilient than we treat ourselves, than we think of ourselves. We can absorb, we can sustain, you know. We get good enough and we can deflect, we can start to, we can grow right there. You know, I think a discipline and trust, you know, patience is it's hard to find. You know, people, we're busy and it gets hectic, frantic. You know, heard the expression step on toes. You know, we step on toes a lot. You know, we don't listen. Kind of, it's easy to prepare that way when we know that attention isn't being paid. You know, especially if it's somewhere where I'm weak at. You know, I know that, like, where we're weak, we spend time. If we're trying to build and we're trying to grow, we spend time and work on that. We chisel ourselves and grow in the things that we're preparing for. You know. But it does build trust. And personally, it builds trust, you know. And interpersonally, it builds trust. When you silence, when you can absorb, when things can sink in, you know, it goes farther, it lasts longer, and that's, you bury that time. You know, and that's where it's important to study at. And that's where it is important to get your gains, you know, get your knowledge, pay attention, build, and somehow I think that we limit ourselves. Eventually we do hurt ourselves. We group ourselves. We find ourselves working, living, dying for purposes and causes, and sometimes we're blinded to. We don't even know we're paying the piper, and we're just playing that little flute, and all the while chatterboxing it up, you know, spending it all, just chatterboxing it up. That's what you're stacking up. Thinking positive, you know, there's serenity when it's silent. It's serenity. How can you not hear it? How can you not feel it? How can you not take that and use it for what it was used for, what it was intended for? How can you not when you're breathing in instead of, you know, throwing it out there? That's what I call gains. You can see it. It is a cloak. It is a veil. You are stealth. It's a stealth mode. You know, it's revelation. You know, you can see things. You get to levels. If you can, you know, if you can communicate, if you can feel that deep and get there and trust yourself enough that it's gonna be okay. But we don't get there. We don't like it. It's not comfortable there for us. Take me with you. You know, we like to be in that group. We like to follow. We like to be led and misled. So good, you know, that's where it comes. That's victory. And we leave it wide open. We leave it open for the taking. We make it real easy when we're not silent. And that's how we become our own worst enemies. We don't need enemies. Why keep an enemy? Why should we worry about our enemies? We don't, right? We don't. And that's where anything can have its way. So protect, you know, guard against that. You know, it is an attack. But we're way more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. You know, we can absorb. We can take in. You know, and that builds your virtue. It's virtuous. You know, build your virtuosity. You know, it's the only thing you're going to leave. It's that or the other.